I've been driving in my car. Ha, 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 ha. Oh my God, get out the way. Bang, bang, boom, boom, bang, bang, boom. It's Samoa Joe turning babyface. I'm Ollie Davis. This is Chopper Pete Quinnell. What happens next? Oh, yeah. Luke's not here. It threw me off. Luke's at a wedding today. He'll be back tomorrow. Welcome to the WrestleRamble Raw Review live stream, where please press thumbs up button, press subscribe button, leave a comment down below saying what you think about Samoa Joe potentially turning babyface into a super Samoan Joe's tag team with Roman Reigns. And of course, get your super chats over to Randy Andy Datson, who returns from WrestleTalk.com now as Clark Kent.
Thank you very much. Yes, I have photosensitivity. I looked into a light bulb and couldn't see for about half an hour.
Nice.
So I didn't recognize him.
No, not at all. I had no idea who he was.
This is just Andy Datson.
Yeah.
He takes off the glasses.
He's no longer
and it's
Randy. Yeah.
So there was the second of Roman Reigns' huge SummerSlam program build. It has only really happened in the last 6 days. Of course, we had the final segment of last week's SmackDown, where Roman's going to announce his SummerSlam opponent to Kayla Braxton, but some rigging is pushed over on him, and he is actually quite fine. But emotionally and in his head, he seems shook up. Here, Samoa Joe called him out because everyone's been blaming Samoa Joe for that, because that's sort of been the red herring story they've been telling. Joe and Reigns have been feuding for the last couple of weeks, even though Roman has beaten Joe clean, kind of nullifying that feud and taking all the drama out of it. Joe called out Reigns to come and apologize to him, but because Roman doesn't turn up until the last 45 minutes of any show these days, Joe has to go outside to the parking lot to wait for Roman to arrive in his rental car. Roman gets out of the car, and in a very well done bit of cutting, a car from out of nowhere crashes into the side of it, which kind of pushes Roman back inside the car, and it spins round, and then the car drives off.
It looked really cool, honestly, because it was so quick. From Roman gets out of his car and is standing by his door, and him and Joe are kind of mouthing back and forth. And then out of nowhere, Roman just turns around, dives back inside the car, and then suddenly, boom, there's a car hitting him. I was like, did he actually, they just hit the car? Like, that's kind of dangerous if they just did it like that.
I rewound it and was like, surely that was done live.
Yeah.
Because it was the cut was so seamless, I couldn't see the edit.
Exactly, yeah. It was really well done. We don't often praise the cinematography, especially after SmackDown's angle with the camera on the scaffolding as it came down. Fools. But this one was done very, very well. Like, this would have been ruined if they had a camera inside the car, for example. That would be comparable. But they didn't do it this time. They learned, and they did it better.
Less is more in this example, because like you said, last week's angle at the end of SmackDown didn't just have the camera up on the rigging, which kind of gave the game away anyway. It also had about 7 other camera angles that they cut to here and there. Here's one by the feet. Here's just one randomly of Roman looking fine underneath the set that had fallen on him. So this was just 2 angles that almost seemed like the same angle in terms of camera, not wrestling angles. But where this got... So that was a very well-executed stunt. But what leveled this whole thing up is Samoa Joe, who opened Raw, yelling at Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Renee Young by standing on top of the commentary desk, interrupting the intro sequence for Raw, which I haven't seen in months.
I haven't seen it in ages. Yeah, it looked really cool. It took me completely by surprise, and I was like, have I skipped a bit of this show or something? I had to rewind a bit, and I was like, is this right? I went back, and it was literally cut straight from the intro feed to Joe standing on a table screaming at the commentary team. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
So Joe's been angry all night, and then he sort of says, I'm not going to let Raw carry on. I'm shutting down Raw from here, puts a chair in the middle of the ring, and that's when someone says, oh, Roman's arriving backstage, and this whole angle takes place. But Joe, when this... Samoa Joe, that is. Not Joanna Roman Reigns.
Not Samoan Joe. Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Although Samoa Joe is also...
There's also Samoan Joe.
Samoan Joe. After the car hits Roman's car and Roman's discombobulated. Samoa Joe goes into protective mode and just starts shouting at Roman, stay down. And initially I thought, is he telling Roman off? Stay down, mother effer.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was like out of a place of concern. Stay down. And then he starts, like, don't move your neck or anything. You could have whiplash. And then he starts screaming, we need a medic. Medic! And all that stuff. And I thought, what a lovely way to make this more real.
Yeah.
And you sort of, you get past the wrestling angle of it, and it's,
And it really develops Joe's character as well, because what we've seen of Joe is that he's some heartless, ruthless killer pretty much since his main roster call-up. He's just a guy who targets people's families, and he's a guy that has no limits, and he'll do whatever he can to win championships, and then he'll get rolled up and get angry afterwards. But this, he's an actual character, and he has his limits of what he can do in order to win. He'll bend the rules, and he'll do whatever he wants to do in order to win, but he won't try and run someone over, which I guess is a nice limit to have.
He'll knock on their family's house.
Oh, yeah. I think that's fine.
He'll sort of perv over AJ Styles' wife, Wendy.
That's fine.
But, yeah, he won't hit a guy with a car.
No. That's
Which,
just taking
funnily
it too
enough,
far.
is more than you can say for Roman Reigns.
That's
because
true.
he drove a truck into Braun Strowman once.
Yeah, at Great Balls of Fire. It was great.
So, consistency isn't really the strong suit here. But in this moment, I don't really care about that because it was executed so well. And like you said, Joe's character just feels suddenly very, very compelling. And the report is that this mystery attacker of Roman is Daniel Bryan. Of course, Daniel Bryan has Rowan as a tag partner. They recently lost the SmackDown tag belts at the last pay-per-view. So one of the bits of speculation is that it could be Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe, so Samoa Joe turns babyface, to take on Bryan and Rowan.
I would be so down for that. Because honestly, we've not seen babyface Samoa Joe on the main roster, not since his time in NXT, when he became super ultra mega heel after his initial babyface run. I love babyface Samoa Joe. I think he's fantastic. Some of his offense, when he really gets going, when he has like a hot tag or like a flurry of offense, his offense is next to none. It is so good, and it gets the crowd so excited. There's stuff when he does like the Uranagi out the corner and the senton and the spinning kick and all sorts of dives to the outside. He's got an amazing babyface moveset on him, and he has to kind of hold himself back when he's being a heel because he's got to take it slow and be methodical and things like that. And yeah, he's really good at it, but he's an amazing babyface as well, and I think that would be such a nice change of pace for the main roster for Joe.
Yeah, because let's be honest, it hasn't been the best time for Joe. And it's saying something for the man's talent of where he is. Like, I never feel like Joe is flattened out, or you can't just suddenly pop him into a WWE title feud, or, the match against Brock Lesnar. That caught fire. It turned business around that year, really. So much so, we got that really good four-way SummerSlam match. That was meant to be Brock versus Roman, just in a singles. But because Joe got hot, they rightfully went with his momentum. So But mostly, he has been badly booked. He's hardly won anything. The United States title run from this year was just an absolute botch fest. He didn't even win it clean, or he didn't lose it clean. It was a mess. So mostly, he's been very ineffectively booked. But when you turn someone babyface, and if they're doing that, this is a very sort of smart, psychologically complete way of doing it. It's really quite engaging. Then that could sort of wipe all those bad memories away.
Exactly. And there was a WWE.com exclusive interview where he was being interviewed backstage, and someone said, "Hey, Joe, you were close with this whole accident. What's your take on it?" And he was saying, "Look, that's something else. I know that I bend the rules in order to do and get what I want, but that is taking it to another level." And he said, "You better hope that Roman finds them before I find them, the person that did this." And I was like, whoa, okay, so Joe's really actually been affected by this, and he wants revenge on the person that did this to Roman, which again leads into potentially Joe and Roman versus Bryan and Roman, if that's the way they're going.
Are you more excited about that match? Because I was very into Bryan versus Reigns when that was first reported last week as the identity of Reigns' attacker. But now that this whole Samoa Joe element's been added, that's the match I want.
Yeah, it's hard to say, because I'm more excited to have Joe and Reigns team up against Bryan for sure. The inclusion of Rowan, not so much.
Yeah.
I don't rate him too highly, but I think the addition of Joe is worth more than the con of having Rowan join, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does, yeah.
So, yeah, I am more excited for that match, if that does end up being the one that happens at SummerSlam. We'll have to see on SmackDown tonight, I guess.
Yeah, I guess Joe doesn't have anything to do at SummerSlam. That's the problem is you wouldn't really want either team to lose. You don't really want Bryan and Rowan to lose on their first, these are the heights we've never been to before escapade. And you don't want the two Joes to lose either, because they're a new team as well.
Yeah.
I guess you could do some sort of heelish cheating finish and extend the feud. But I don't know. A lot of things feel very Paul Heyman at the moment, and that just the focus on Samoa Joe potentially teaming with Roman Reigns, that to me just feels Heyman-y.
Very Heyman-y. I think Joe is very much a Paul Heyman kind of guy.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think, Heyman might be trying to protect Joe and push Joe a little bit more, maybe as a babyface, because his heel run hasn't been too great on the main roster. One thing I will say, though, if this all turns out to be a ruse by Samoa Joe, I am going to be so annoyed.
Yeah.
Because
Sort of done with
so
that.
it's like, oh, you got us, yeah, but like, what for? What's the payoff to this?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I could totally see them doing. This was all Samoa Joe's plan. He got him right, and he's just paid off random people to like lower the scaffolding and run him over in a car.
Yeah.
It'll be really bad, basically.
Well, what do you guys think? Let's go over to your super chats with Randy Andy Datson to find out.
Yes, we will. We will start off with Jonathan Hedman, who says, hello, at the risk of being late to the party, last night with a low crowd vibe except for Legends, are the majority of WWE fans now just WWE fans and not wrestling fans?
I wouldn't say the large majority, because I would say we're wrestling fans, but there always has been a very sizable contingent of viewers who just watch WWE.
I would say those that attend live events and live shows generally, I would say, would be WWE fans, because I think a lot of wrestling fans would prefer other things like AEW, New Japan, or whatever, and they'll watch what they enjoy more. But I think there are still some wrestling fans who would very much go to a WWE show. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be the majority, but I don't think it would be a majority by much.
Inspector Chadwick says, hey chaps, shout out for my cat Tally, who died on Sunday. Feeling pretty sad, so trying to cheer myself up by having a lovely time with the boys.
Well, hopefully it helps, get over Tally. To Tally!
To
Tally.
Tally.
What a
This
cat.
show is dedicated.
Toast.
Van Thomas says, Roman is still shooting Fast and Furious on WWE TV.
That's good.
Is that why he's late?
He was in
Oh,
Hobbs
of
and
course,
Shaw.
the cars.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fast
That
and
is good.
Furious.
Oh, that's a good joke,
It's a
and
good
I didn't
joke,
put it in my
and
review.
you didn't do it in your review, mate.
Well,
Shocking.
thank you, Van Thomas. Matthew Burlidge says, off topic, Ollie, did you see Kurt Angle explain his retirement match? Basically, he wanted to retire at WrestleMania. Vince said, okay, but you still have to face Baron Corbin.
Great.
Sounds like
Yeah,
Vince,
what
that one.
a fun memory that is for my favourite ever wrestler and how he went out.
Well, don't worry. He can come back as a special guest referee.
That top
Great.
did not fit him either. It was just really weird. They usually do. Balls Blizzab 88 says, got my tickets for AEW in DC. It'll be my first show since 2002.
Wow.
Yippee Skippy.
Well, there you go. That's the
That's
lapsed
great.
fan market that AEW are trying to go for.
Absolutely.
So,
Nailed
yeah,
it.
you do
And
exist.
they're announcing the locations
Exciting.
for show 2 and 3, probably at about 5 p.m. UK time today.
Nice.
So check that out. Steve Wynyard says, what about a Samoan stable with Joe, Roman, and the Usos?
Yeah, I think that's where my mind went as well. But yeah, eventually they can have an association. But I want this sort of two-man power trip of Joe and Joe.
Imagine how much that would elevate a tag division if you've got Roman Reigns and Samoa
Oh,
Joe
yeah,
as the tag
wow.
champs against like the OC or like the New Day.
Wow.
Because I mean, there's no wildcard rule, so acts can go basically anywhere now. So imagine just like, Roman and Joe versus the OC versus New Day versus Bryan and Rowan versus other heavy
Yeah,
machinery. I don't know.
Not for long though. You know they are stopping the wildcard rule and reintroducing the brand split. An extension of the previous question from Flame Inc. Live says, "Hi, you guys help me get through my 7 a.m. shift. You guys rock. Could we see a Samoan faction with Roman, Samoa Joe, Usos, Tamina, all managed by The Rock?"
I think that would probably jump the shark.
Yes. Don't put Tamina in it, for starters.
Don't put Tamina in
because
anything.
it's Tamina.
Yeah.
But also, I wouldn't want it to be managed by The Rock either.
He'd overshadow them all.
Exactly, yeah.
And the last one for Now I'll Do the Rest Later is Wilson Simons, who says, "Seth seemed more stupid than brave. By the way, I've been trying to get into indie wrestling, but I don't know what to watch. I love NXT, false finishes, lots of finishes, and storytelling. Where can I get more of that?"
Ooh.
Well, where are you in the world? Because that changes things.
Yeah.
Dollars. So, America.
Well, there's lots of wrestling in America.
Yeah, it's always good to, I guess, but the easiest thing to do is get on a streaming service.
Yes.
It depends what you mean by indie wrestling, because indie wrestling is sort of a business practice in that you are an independent company, but it's also become a style, much like how indie music spun out of independent music. So, I mean, I feel like, for what you just said, class in NXT as indie, New Japan would probably class as indie. So go and watch a lot of the G1.
Yeah.
Sign up to New Japan World.
If you like that kind of style, New Japan for sure. I'd say, I just had one in my head and now I've forgotten it. Rev Pro is an extension of that.
Yeah.
Progress.
But Rev Pro don't really have stories. They just have very, very good matches. Progress have great stories.
Yeah, I guess it depends if you're looking for kind of just in-ring stuff or full promotions to watch.
Let's get on with the full review of Raw.
Let's do
there
that.
was a memoriam part at the start to honour those who lost their lives over the weekend. And then they had the Samoa Joe thing as well, where
Which was-
he interrupted the intro credits.
Really loved him shouting over Michael Cole. That was one of my favourite things.
And then the interruptions weren't going to stop there, because Becky Lynch then interrupted Samoa Joe.
Okay, this really confused me because from what I got from Joe's promo, now that I might be wrong in this, from what I got from Joe's promo, he was saying, "I'm going to shut down Raw until Roman comes and gives me an apology."
Yes.
And he said, whenever Roman comes out, Raw's getting shut down, and I'm waiting for that apology. No one's going to do anything. Becky Lynch's music hits, and I was like, oh, Becky Lynch interrupting Samoa Joe? That's cool. The following match is scheduled for... Wait, what? No, but where's Joe gone? He's just said that he's going to shut down Raw. And then they just had a women's match, and I was like, huh, it's a bit weird.
Well, he was going to shut it down in 2 hours' time.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
he
you
said-
just didn't hear that bit.
Eventually,
It was off mic.
when Roman comes out at some point in the show, then I'll come back, and then I'll shut down Raw.
One of the
It was a bit
funniest
weird.
things in this part, I didn't mind it actually. But yeah, it is a bit weird for Joe to start shouting that and Becky Lynch to just come out
Yeah.
and that whole bit be ignored until later on. But Samoa Joe is yelling at Michael Cole, "Why are you saying this? Why are you accusing me?" And Michael Cole just answers, first off says, "We're live in Pittsburgh."
Pennsylvania.
Don't antagonize the guy. It's Samoa Joe. And he was like, "Well, actually, Samoa Joe, we did a poll on WWE.com, and 80% of people think it was you." And I thought Joe was just going to leap over the desk and choke him out, and no more Cole for the rest of the show.
That would have been great.
Yeah, it would have been good.
But I think his response might have been better than that, which was, well, I just took a poll, and I think 80% of people are idiots.
Yeah.
It's great, yeah.
Let's take a
He's-
poll on this desk.
He's so good at promos.
So
That's
Becky
not
Lynch
news,
comes
but-
out, and it was announced earlier in the day that it will be a submission match between her and Natalya, because why actually have that unfold on TV as a hot go-home angle?
Of course.
Especially with how this match ended. I liked this match. I liked it because it was an interesting way to do a go-home show with these four people combined. Because Becky Lynch tagged with Charlotte, of all people.
Weird.
They hate each other.
Yeah.
And that dynamic was really fun to see on the corner. So it's a babyface heel there. And then you had Natalya and Trish on the other side. Trish Stratus, who never got involved.
No, didn't take a single bump.
No. But Natalya was kind of healing it up there. So you had two babyface heel teams.
It was so strange because Natalya got worked over for most of this match by Charlotte, eliciting a babyface response from the crowd. She's the babyface in this. And then later on in the match, after, various moves and such, Becky tags herself back in on Charlotte, because Charlotte did a blind tag to Becky earlier, which was kind of heel-face dynamics that you were talking about. And then later on, Becky tags herself back in on Charlotte. Charlotte gets annoyed, drags down Becky to the mat, and then walks off and just says, well, I'm not going to tag anymore. And then Natalya suddenly goes full heel and then just locks in a sharpshooter on Becky. Becky scrambles to the ropes with some great selling on her part, grabs the ropes, but then Natalya doesn't let go. Goes to the 5 count, ref calls for the DQ, and then Natalya pulls it back into the center of the ring again and just carries on. And I was like, I didn't know how to feel about it, because I was like, I've just been rooting for you as a babyface, and now you're going all heel on me. It was a bit weird.
I liked it. I thought it was shades of grey in these characters. I thought it was quite smart storytelling, because I didn't see it as Natalya as a heel here. I saw it as Natalya is just being a bit badass for a change, because God knows she doesn't really work as an out-and-out babyface or an out-and-out heel.
No, she doesn't.
She's a problematic character, and unfortunately she is quite wooden as a performer. Very good in-ring wrestler, which is why I'm looking forward to her match with Lynch at SummerSlam. But yeah, this was a nice way to not beat anyone properly and have everyone, build the drama for this weekend. Oh.
I guess.
You carry on talking while I fix that.
Yeah. I guess so. I just felt a little bit more confused by the end of it than I was like, ooh, can't wait for Sunday. That's partially my own fault, because it's a submission match, and I forgot that there's no DQs in submission matches, which means rope breaks don't count, in theory. Whether they actually enforce that rule or not on Sunday remains to be seen.
The whole match will be built around reaching for the rope.
But so I was like, well, you've just lost yourself a tag match for no reason. But I guess she's trying to do more damage to Lynch before Sunday, which is fine, but I don't know. I just felt a little bit anticlimactic by the end of it. It was fine.
Like you said, Lynch really sold her legs as well.
Why did she sell her legs?
Sharpshooters
don't hurt your legs. It's lower back.
It could with the knees.
It's just your back, though.
Maybe she's very inflexible.
Yeah, maybe.
Burning the quads. Well, whatever happened, whatever you feel about the finish, it went through ad breaks. It got a decent amount of time.
Yes, it did.
It was allowed to breathe as a match. The pacing since last week's episode of Raw has just been a joy to watch. I know it's like, what a low bar WWE have set themselves. Well done. You can adequately pace a wrestling match on your wrestling show. But I'm in dreamland right now. I'm watching something that's watchable as its base point.
Wow.
Whereas when it got to watchable, that was like a well done, Raw. And then we went into another wrestling match, which was terrific. Rey Mysterio versus Andrade.
I mean, can these two put on a match that's bad? I don't think it's in them. No. I don't think they can. This was phenomenal stuff. And again, this went through ad breaks. Fantastic. Rey, at the very start of the match, Rey was trying to get a quick win just by continually trying to hit 619s. And every time Andrade would just get up and just knee him or elbow him or whatever it was just to stop him, which was a really nice way to do it. Rey hit an amazing spot that I haven't seen. I don't know whether he's done it before and I've missed it, but slid through the bottom of the rope and then goes into a sunset powerbomb straight away into the barricade and Andrade. That was awesome. That was so cool. Such a great spot. Mysterio and Andrade both look amazing. And I love when we came back after the ad break as well. Top line from Michael Cole. We want to show you vintage Rey Mysterio before the commercial break.
He really grated on me this week.
It's like a set phrase.
Yeah.
It's like an actual object. We want to show you vintage Rey Mysterio. It is this thing that we must show you. But yeah, there was a sunset bomb in the ring. There was the awesome back elbow from Andrade that looks amazing. There was the stomp, like the Del Rio stomp that didn't look too contrived, which is always good. Mysterio went for a springboard moonsault and Andrade just caught him flawlessly. And then Mysterio counters that into a crucifix driver. It was so good. So much ingenuity and things that I haven't seen from the two of them, even though they've done 5 matches now. And then they keep going back and forth. And there were so many near falls at the end of this match.
Oh my God,
I bought into every single one of them.
Yeah,
it
as
was
did
amazing.
the crowd.
Yeah.
Because they were given that time to build up the false finishes. And because they got so much time and they looked so great within it, neither guy looked bad in at the end of it. Andrade looked great, even though Zelina Vega won it for him. Behind the referee's back, she sort of dropped Rey's neck over the top rope. And Rey, he put in a great match and only lost it because Vega interfered, really. So this was fantastic booking, and Andrade has gone over Rey Mysterio 2 weeks in a row now. Rey does not look any worse for it, because he'd already wrestled a match in the Gauntlet one last week. And Andrade looks amazing.
Yeah.
100% booking, Pete. No 50-50.
What is this? This is a new era, finally.
This was great. I really, really enjoyed it. It was probably, apart from the Joe stuff, the most enjoyable segment.
Very
of
much
Raw.
so, I'd say so.
And I liked the whole episode. I thought this match was very good. Then we got the Maria and Mike Kanellis. This is earlier today at 2 p.m., which kind of annoyed me because last week when Maria won the 24/7 title and she walked through the backstage area, she said she had an OBGYN, a gynecologist appointment on Thursday. So maybe she already had that, and this was a follow-up to that one?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it didn't bother me, so...
It was a small thing.
Yeah, we each have our nitpicks. I did it earlier. You put yours here.
I think yours was a bit more justified in the heel babyface roles of things. But they said Thursday. But it happened earlier today at 2 p.m. And Mike takes Maria into the table place where you lay on a table. I'm uncomfortable because I'm talking about a woman's intimate parts.
Talking about a gynecologist and pregnancy.
And Mike hugs her out of comfort and love, but what he's really doing is pinning her. The gynecologist is actually the female referee, and she counts the pin, and Mike's the champion. Mike walks into the waiting room. R-Truth is there in a disguise. He wins. He's the champion.
The initial Mike bit got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very funny spot. R-Truth coming in win it? Not so much.
I know. I just feel like we'd already peaked
Yeah.
with the Truth stuff. Not that the Truth stuff got tired, but I was over it.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go back there. Plus, I thought there was a lot of mileage that they've now potentially scuppered in having Maria as this untouchable champion.
Yeah. I think this would have been better a couple months down the line with Maria being untouchable and then just saying, well, we've got an update from Maria who we've not seen in a while. She had a gynecologist appointment the other day. And then they have this segment with Mike winning the title, and then he's holding it for a little bit. Sure, he could lose it on Raw or whatever, but I think that would be a much better use of it. And also, I think it would have been better just to have Mike, if we were going to have Maria lose it now, just have Mike win it, and then keep him as the champion for the next show.
Yeah.
To have him win it and then lose it immediately. Sure, it's going to add to this whole Maria-Mike storyline, because Maria's going to be really upset with him, because not only did she lose the title, he lost the title as well, so now they're going to have to get it back again. It's just not fun. I don't like it.
I mean, maybe the fault's with us because we're looking for long-term storytelling.
That's true.
For a division that is all about quick title changes week to week. There was a lot of stuff they could have done here, and maybe they've got some really good ideas. But right now, it wasn't even that funny, I thought, as an overall segment. Then we got a Becky Lynch promo backstage talking to mean Charlie Caruso. And she got a really good fiery promo on Natalya.
You're forgetting real quick the amazing segue from Charlie Caruso.
Oh, what did she say?
I can't believe we have just seen the 24/7 championship change hands at the whatever the abbreviation was, CNB, whatever it is. And now Becky Lynch. It was...
Yeah.
What? Sure.
I don't know why they have to tell me what I just saw. My
We
guess
literally
at this
just
time
seen it.
is Becky Lynch.
Yes.
That's all they have to do. Or just say, Becky Lynch has a match this weekend. Here she is to talk about it.
Yeah. Flawless.
Reference the thing this Sunday that you're trying to sell. But yeah, Becky got a really good promo on Natalya, I thought, making fun of Natalya's Instagram, which is stupid. Have you been on her Instagram?
No.
She pulls the duck facey thing.
Oh, yeah. Pouting.
Yeah, all the time. It is a bit silly.
Yeah.
And then Natalya, I did appreciate this though. Natalya spoke to not Renee Young.
Yes.
In a different location and did her best given an emotional performance.
Yeah, it was fine. But she did say that she was going to end Becky Lynch's career, which I think is a little bit excessive.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, she's going to drive in a car, smush her up against the ring post.
Yeah.
Okay, here's probably the limpest part of Raw, I would say.
This isn't great.
I didn't hate it. I was just a little bit. I don't think what they were trying to achieve they managed by the end of it.
No, not at all.
So Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out to talk about Seth Rollins and that awful F5 onto the stretcher last week.
Still looks great.
Yeah, it horrid,
Yeah.
horrid kind of
Yeah.
great. And Heyman, they replayed it in slow-mo so many times. And Heyman says that Seth's, he's meant to be the guy who beats Brock. So let's see what his big plan is. And Seth's music hits. And it holds for a bit. And I thought, okay, he's the architect. He's got a plan. He's not going to come out now.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be the big end hook to the show, whatever Seth's big plan is.
Mm-hmm.
But then he just hobbles out in some stupid selling.
Yeah.
He looked like a zombie.
Yeah.
He was dragging one foot behind him.
Didn't quite work. He's taken
Yeah.
some spinal damage, so his nerves are all messed up, so he can't quite.
He comes out as Quasimodo in a chair. and he limps down to the ring. And I thought, okay, well, this is such obviously bad selling.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a ruse.
Yeah.
He's going to stand up straight all of a sudden. Boof, boof, boof. There's his bit.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. No, he just kind of came down in civilian clothes, I might add, not in wrestling gear at all. Came down with the chair dragging behind him, got in the ring, and then immediately went for a chair shot, and Lesnar just kicked him in the stomach and went, no, I'm not having that. And then he just beat him up. Kind of the same as last week, though not as gruesome. He just kind of beat him up a bit, did some suplexes, did some punches and some kicks. Anytime Rollins tried to get up, just a little boop, back down again. It was something.
Yeah. It's just like you kind of want to go into the pay-per-view with the most drama and tension. And that was definitely the end of last week's show. That angle was very good. This one was not even in the same league. So just switch them around. It's quite an easy way. But Brock then leaves. Seth's torso is all taped up and he gets given a microphone. And he cuts a promo about, I was thinking maybe I'm not good enough and saying all these bits. He says, but I am. The Universal title means more than anything to me. Sorry, Becky Lynch. And I will win it at SummerSlam, and I will be there. But he did it all in such a... I know what they're trying to accomplish, which is he's so beaten down, he kind of doubts himself, but he believes in himself so much because he's a super babyface that he's still saying these things. He's got a never say die attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It just came across as a bit flat, and Seth's delivery wasn't good enough to make that idea work.
I think that the delivery would have been fine if the reason for him coming out had been better.
Yeah,
because
that as well, yeah.
The reason he came out was non-existent. He just came out with a chair because I guess he wants to beat up Brock Lesnar, but he was in no shape to beat up Brock Lesnar, and he's an idiot for thinking that he could. In that condition that he's in, he just looks stupid for trying to pick a fight because he's obviously going to lose. Unless, like you said, he was playing possum or whatever, and then afterwards, if he had a ruse and it didn't work, if he had some sort of master plan and then Brock Lesnar saw through it and he still got the one up on Rollins, and then he cut a promo saying, you know what, maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe I'm not cut out to do all this stuff. And then he contemplates it and says, you know what, no, actually, I'm still going to fight because I'm a babyface and I'll be there at SummerSlam. I think it wouldn't have been amazing, but it would have worked a hell of a lot better than him just coming out, being already injured, getting injured some more, and then just saying, I don't know if it's worth it. You could have just not come out, and then that would have been problem solved. Then it totally is worth it, because then you're in better shape for SummerSlam for you to actually win the title. You fool.
Yeah, they were trying to make him look brave. They made him look stupid.
Correct.
And one of the main selling points of Seth is he is this master tactician, the architect of the Shield. I didn't think it worked, and one of the... Even though I was annoyed about this is a very good litmus test for if it's emotionally connecting with the crowd. They were chanting what?
Yep.
All through his sort of emotional promo at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a fail.
Yeah. And I very much enjoyed as he was walking off, the refs and medics were trying to get medical attention. I don't think they had any other lines other than, Seth, we need to get you checked out. Because all of them said it several times. No variations, exactly the same phrase. Seth, we need to get you checked out.
They're NPCs.
Yeah.
Then we go backstage. Kurt Angle's there, donning his referee shirt, because he's going to be special guest refereeing Drew McIntyre versus Cedric Alexander later.
For no reason.
It's Pittsburgh, Pete.
So?
He was down the road.
So?
He was already in the arena when WWE showed up. Still thinking he's GM.
Just annoys me.
In his
There's no
stupid
reason
little
for it.
red jumper and suit. And the Street Profits turn up, and they're always fun. And they give Kurt some milk.
I actually got a big pop out of this segment.
It's fun.
I thought this was very funny because they were trying to get Kurt Angle to have a drink out of their red Solo cups, but it was milk that they were trying to do because playing off the very famous angle of Kurt Angle with the milk truck doing all that stuff and him having his 3 eyes and all that jazz. But then Kurt Angle, in what I think was probably one of his most well-delivered lines in probably about 5 years, just said, well, I told my wife I wouldn't do anything crazy. And I was like, that's such a good line. That's amazing. And then they eventually convince him to have a glass of milk before Drew McIntyre interrupted.
Yeah, and Drew McIntyre was mean. Said he beat him last year. In terms of best Kurt lines, that was a good line.
Yeah.
The best delivered, apart from they're worth $2 million, about the production trucks, is he had a line with Enzo and Cass back when they were a popular act, and they spell soft, S-A-W-F-T. They walk off, and Kurt just goes, it's not how you spell soft.
That was his very first night as GM, when I was still optimistic about his GM
the good old
chances.
days.
Yeah.
Then we got Viking Raiders taking on an enhancement talent act to no crowd reaction.
Who cares at this point? What have they done to the Viking Raiders? Like, remember their match with Aleister Black and Ricochet at NXT TakeOver?
Yeah.
Good God, how they've fallen since then. Like, you can't do the same match for months and still have people care. You just can't.
Well, you can. That's what Braun Strowman did, and that was a huge part of getting him over. But they did that first with Braun. With the Viking Raiders, they sort of put them in a feud, and then they were going for the tag titles for one bit, and now they're just doing enhancement stuff. So it feels like a massive step backwards.
I would also argue with Braun Strowman. He started off just doing like one-on-one stuff. There was like the whole James Ellsworth thing. That's how he got his fame from it. And then he started taking on 2 people and 3 people and doing different spots in the match. This is the same match, move for move, every single week. There's no variations to it.
That's classic wrestling booking for getting over an act's moveset, though. That I think on paper makes total sense, but it's not working. And they've been doing these for about 4 weeks back to back now. So you should change what you're doing because the crowd aren't reacting to it.
Yeah. Such a shame.
Then we got a very, very nice Harley Race video package because he passed away last Friday. WWE's video editing department are just very good.
They're gods, aren't they?
Then we got the Drew McIntyre versus Cedric Alexander match. Kurt's down there. He's really excited. He's got his little ref tank top on. But it didn't get going.
No. So Cedric Alexander came out after Angle. On his way to the ring, McIntyre attacked him from behind. The dastardly heel. Got in a few punches. Didn't really do anything too spectacular. But he set him up for the reverse Alabama Slam thingy. Cedric came back and hit a nice-looking tornado DDT off the barricade onto the floor. They're both spelled out on the floor when suddenly the lights go out. Woo! And then the violin music starts playing or whatever it is. The freaky psycho music. Woo! Woo! Yeah. And then it's Bray Wyatt. He comes out and does a mandible claw to Kurt Angle, which was cool.
Yeah, was cool. So it looks like the mandible claw is going to be a part of his offense. Doesn't really build the Finn Balor match for this Sunday.
No.
But whatever. That doesn't matter. What really annoyed me is Fiend, mandible claws Kurt Angle. Then they go to break. They come back from break. The commentators are talking about Titus O'Neil going to visit a school. So there's no conclusion to Drew versus Cedric. There's no follow-up or even a reference to how weird that was that the Fiend attacked Kurt Angle. Just completely undermined everything that came before it.
Yeah.
I don't get why WWE's production department feels like the Fiend exists in a separate universe to everything else that's going on the show. I get it that the Firefly Funhouse technically was, but now he's invaded your universe. You should at least start saying, oh, we're all a bit worried here, because that's genuinely freaky.
Would you prefer it if they came back from break and Michael Cole just goes, that was weird?
You know what? I would.
You'd prefer a Michael
it's
Cole
something.
line. Yeah. Well, that was fine. That was a fun spot. But then we got something else that was pretty cool, which was Big E and Xavier Woods came out for a match against the OC, being Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. But this time, Luke Gallows has got face paint on, just like he did when he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that was a cool visual. As soon as he came out, I was like, huh, face paint from New Japan. That's great. Love that. And then Michael Cole ruined it immediately. God, he's awful. Did you know, Ollie, that Luke Gallows is wearing face paint because it gives him an edge, gives him more of an attitude. It gets him ready for the match. Shut up, Cole. Just let us enjoy the visual. God, you're annoying.
Is that why the Usos got rid of their face paint?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how effective it is. I loved it. I love this. The Gallows and Anderson have gone from, in the space of 4 weeks, and me just being 100% sure they're leaving the company, because why would they stay?
Mm-hmm.
Their contracts are up at the end of August, and they've gone from that. Comedy jobbers is all they were, unfortunately.
Nerds.
And they were booked into the ground for years. I thought they were unsalvageable. They had to go to another promotion to get a jump start. 3 weeks after teaming up with AJ Styles again, they have completely transformed. And this face paint on Gallows was just like the cherry on top of this cake.
Mm-hmm.
They owned this match. They didn't even let it start, really. AJ just jumped in and they all started beating up the New Day, which was great. Just great dickish heel tactics.
I thought it was quite amusing because it was just Xavier Woods and Big E. There was no Kofi Kingston with them. And as soon as it was a 3-on-2 beat, then I was like, huh, maybe the New Day should look into getting a third member or something. Where's Kofi?
But then Ricochet ran down for the save, and he does crazy Ricochet stuff. Match restarts as a 6-man tag, and just all throughout this match, Gallows was my standout player. He just looked transformed. The way he was moving physically, the moves he was busting out, his facial expressions.
I genuinely think the face paint has helped give him a new attitude. Thanks, Cole,
It's
for
an
that line.
edge, yeah.
Yeah, it gives him an edge. No, but I do genuinely think having that face paint on might have kind of like reinvigorated something within Gallows, because he did look quite fresh and good here.
Yeah.
He looked quite intimidating, and it was a good wrestling match as well.
Yeah.
It was
It really draws the eye. Now, there was a weird bit where you saw this more than I did, where the referee just started screaming at Gallows.
Oh, that was so weird. So right at the end of the match for the finish, there was it was a really good match, and towards the end they had this spot where, because it's 6-man tag, everyone hits big moves, big schmoz, and then the finish happens. They did all the big moves. There was a phenomenal forearm and all that jazz, and then Luke Gallows gets up onto the apron on his corner where he's supposed to be. The referee starts screaming at him to get down. For no reason. He just gets up on the apron. Carl Anderson's in the ring, along with Xavier Woods. That's who it was. They're in the ring. They're the legal men. So the match is still happening inside the ring, and Luke Gallows gets up on the apron, on the corner where he's supposed to be. The referee just screams, "Get down! Get down! Get down!" And Luke Gallows is just like, "No.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stand here." And then that allowed, I think Woods got his ankle clipped by Styles, maybe. I might be wrong with that. Carl Anderson hits a move, gets the tag into Gallows, who's in the position he's supposed to be on the apron. They hit a magic killer for the win. Why did the ref shout at Gallows?
So it sounds to me like the referee needed to not see the AJ trip to get the heat.
Yeah.
And Gallows was probably meant to start entering the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And the referee started reacting before that happened.
Yeah.
Probably just a bit of a miscommunication on the spot timing.
Yeah. I mean, I would have thought that if the ref was supposed to stop Gallows from entering the ring, he would have said, like, get out rather than get down. I don't know.
Maybe
also,
it was a dance-off challenge.
Yeah, maybe. Let's break it down. That's a reference to Overwatch that no one in this room gets. God, if only Laurie was here. But, I mean, if Styles did clip the ankle and the ref saw anyway, Is that really a bad thing? He's a competitor in the match. It's not like he's going to DQ him for it.
It's more visually effective for the viewer.
Yes.
It doesn't really rules. But Gallows and Anderson feel so serious and just legitimized. I'm really into them as an act.
Yeah, very much into the OC. I really like them. And especially what you mentioned, I think it was last week, you mentioned the customized name plate that they've got now. It's really cool. Love it.
Then we got Samoa Joe demanding the apology in the Roman Reigns car crash bit.
Yep.
Then we got a 4-way elimination women's tag title match with the Kabuki Warriors taking on Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss versus Fire and Desire versus the champions, the Iconics. And this was a match that was rumored to go on at SummerSlam. So thank God it was here.
Yeah. With all the other matches that they're supposedly announcing now for SummerSlam, really happy that they've decided to do some of the SummerSlam matches here. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they were thinking of doing an Andrade Rey match at SummerSlam as well, and they'd move that to Raw.
Yeah.
Which is a big change. As much as I'd love to see Andrade Rey on pay-per-view, you can't have everything on pay-per-view. Please stop doing it.
And they won't give it time.
So, exactly, yeah. So, good choice. This was actually not bad at all.
No, it was really good. It was a really nicely structured match as well because the Iconics dominated at the start.
Yeah.
To a degree where I was like, are they getting a push as serious contenders?
I was like,
champions?
Where has this been since they've won the titles? They can wrestle.
But it was actually just to set up them losing immediately.
Yeah.
So they were eliminated first by Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. It was by Mandy Rose, actually.
Yes.
And that really made an excitement in the air for this match that the crowd had probably turned off on, because it's not just that these are women in the ring, it's because this is for a tag title belts that have been completely mishandled and not seen on the main roster for months.
Yeah, this is the third time they've been defended since they won the belts at WrestleMania. Yeah. And one of them was against local talent, the Brooklyn Bells.
Yeah,
Brooklyn
good
Bells,
memory.
Because Datsun said it earlier in the office and I was trying to remember. And the other one was where they got themselves counted out. So that wasn't even a match either. So this was really the first real match that they've had for the championships. Mental.
And the crowd did get into it. Who else was it in there? I've forgotten already. Fire and Desire were eliminated next.
Yes.
But the Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross versus Kairi Sane and Asuka stuff.
Unless you're going by the nameplate that they use for the Kabuki Warriors, in which case it's Kairi Sane and Io Shirai.
Really?
Yep.
Nice.
Twitter handle, not the actual nameplate.
Yes, but it's on the nameplate, is what I meant. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they had a pretty decent last couple of minutes and an excellent finish.
Yeah.
With loads of near falls, and they got the crowd into the match, and that's something. That's quite something for a women's tag title match.
For sure. I found it quite amusing. Right at the start of the match when they're doing the introductions for Kabuki Warriors, and Kairi Sane's doing a full woo, all the posing. Asuka's just like, yeah, sure, whatever. She looks so bored on her introduction. But sorry, that was a little flashback. But then we got the last two being Kabuki Warriors and Alexa Bliss and Cross was great. Bliss hits a Twisted Bliss onto Asuka after some really nice back and forth with onto Kairi Sane. She hit the Twisted Bliss. Asuka ran rampant and then Cross catches her in the apron, hits her down, and then Bliss comes in and drop kicks her in the back, and then manages to take down Kairi Sane and hit the Twisted Bliss for the win. And Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are new women's tag team champions. Oh, that was cool. It was really nice.
Yeah. So that's why Alexa Bliss beat Ember Moon last week on SmackDown.
Yeah, to build the women's tag team division, I guess. I would honestly be down for a Kabuki Warriors versus Bliss and Cross rematch at some point. I hope it's not a SummerSlam. I really don't want another match added to that.
No.
Save it for afterwards, but I'd be very much down for a rematch.
And then the final segment of the night was Miz TV. It was a contract signing between Dolph Ziggler and The Miz.
And also Shawn Michaels was there.
Yeah. So this was, this whole segment, just none of the parts felt like they were in the right place. I never believed in any of the parts. I enjoyed it because I recognized the parts.
Yeah.
And the parts would occasionally say something smart. But overall, I'm just like, Dolph Ziggler. So the big reveal was Goldberg comes out at the end. Dolph has not accidentally, but been tricked into signing a contract match against Goldberg rather than The Miz, which was we all knew it was coming, but it was a great reveal after Dolph signed and Miz said, I can't wait to fight you at next Monday's Raw.
Yeah.
And Dolph's face was like, what?
What?
And Shawn Michaels is just there being like, I don't know why I'm here.
I am just here because I'm here.
I've got an NXT cap on, though.
Yeah. So,
by the WWE Network.
One for the marks,
And it was a good swerve, that. And then Goldberg comes down and Dolph gets out of the ring. I saw someone tweet, it shouldn't have been me.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
I so wanted to steal that for my review, but I was like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
And they... so like Goldberg is there staring down Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler turns around, walks into a super kick from Shawn Michaels. That's the end of the show. And I'm just looking at this image. Like, what is going on here?
And it was quick. It was sweet chin music, 2 seconds, end of show. It was literally, a sweet chin music, off the air. It was so quick, and it was a baffling segment, just from start to finish. Because, for starters, Ziggler said pro wrestling. What? That's a banned phrase.
AEW confirmed.
I know, yeah. And then he says by beating The Miz at SummerSlam, he'll be a living legend. What? I think they just wanted to shove in the phrase legend, just to emphasize that Goldberg's coming back, but they didn't know how to do it, so they just threw that line in there.
They've been claiming Miz is a legend for a couple of weeks now.
It's ridiculous. But then it was a nice fake out to have Goldberg coming out. But then they teased Michaels before that. Miz says, you're going to be fighting someone at SummerSlam, but it's not me. And then Michaels steps in and everyone's like, oh, Ziggler versus Michaels. Everyone's like, actually, I would quite into that match.
That would make a lot more sense.
It would make so much more sense, and it would be really cool. And then Michaels just goes, well, it's not me. He was like, well, why are you here then? Why are you here? God, it was awful. But
it wasn't awful.
No, it wasn't awful. That was hyperbole.
It just didn't make sense.
It did not make sense. And then, Dolph runs away from Goldberg, eats a sweet chin music, and immediately Raw goes off the air. So your lasting image is Dolph Ziggler on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for that match. I mean, come on.
Can't wait for SummerSlam.
This whole thing is meant to sell SummerSlam on Goldberg's going to be there. You're going to get to see a Goldberg entrance. You're going to get to see a spear and a jackhammer. The idea isn't, I can't wait to see Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler.
That's true.
You could chuck any name into the Dolph Ziggler part. Oh, but you could have also made a match that people could have wanted to have seen anyway. So it's not like, you could still have done this a lot better than just make it so transparently a last-minute marquee name ad. Like at least with Trish Stratus and Charlotte Flair, there is a little bit of story and some motivation there. This is literally the last couple of minutes of the show. Dolph Ziggler is actually taking on Goldberg.
Yeah.
It's a joke. Yeah. That is the punchline to a joke somewhere.
It really is, isn't it? And there was a great idea from, I believe it was Laurie and Simon in the office earlier. They were saying, if you wanted to have Goldberg versus Ziggler, if that's what you really wanted to do, why didn't you do it where you had Miz and Michaels were there in the segment, they fake out Ziggler, they trick him into signing the contract against Goldberg, and then they say, maybe check that contract again. Ziggler checks the contract and goes, but you don't say who it is. And then it goes, mystery opponent for SummerSlam. And then it still builds it, but you don't get the shock of seeing Goldberg now, because on Sunday you're going to be like, well, I saw that on Raw. It's not quite as impactful as being like, it's Goldberg at SummerSlam.
But then come on, what's a better sell for SummerSlam? Goldberg's going to be there, or Dolph Ziggler has a mystery opponent.
Okay.
I think that's a very bad idea.
Maybe Laurie and Simon are just wrong. Sounded better when they said it, okay?
The only thing I would have changed here, apart from, giving it an actual backstory and a decent opponent, is why don't you just play Goldberg's full entrance? All he's good for these days, and I love Goldberg, I'm not trying to say this is a Matt Riddle kind of slight at him, is you want to see the entrance. This segment would have been a lot more impactful if the music just started playing. You cut backstage. There's the locker room door. You hear him give himself a concussion. Then he walks through. You get the full sparks and everything. And then blah, does the face pose after he signs. You're next.
But then doesn't that take away from Sunday? Because that's the selling point, is what you just said, was the entrance and the spear and the jackhammer. And
You don't see the spear and the jackhammer.
If you're taking away the entrance, then you've just got the spear and the jackhammer.
Still a spear and a jackhammer. I think I'm right.
Well, yeah, of course you do.
Overall, though, I thought this was a really good episode. Nowhere near as good as last week, because that was genuinely quite spectacular. But still a 4 out of 5 show. A good go-home episode as well. WWE rarely put those on.
Yeah, I will say for this, there was nothing... I don't think there was anything outwardly amazing about this. The Joe stuff is intriguing, and I want to see where it goes, but I don't think the angle itself was like, oh my god, this thing! So I gave it a high average. That was a high 3 out of 5 for
That
me.
Rey Mysterio Andrade match.
That was
Goldberg
fun.
returned. Title change. 3 title changes.
24/7.
With the 24/7.
24/7. And women's tag
Women's
team
tag
titles.
title belts. Anyway, what did you think of the show? Let's go over to your super chat.
Oh, I think Peter's being very negative. That's what they
Am
think.
I?
Yeah, you surely are.
Classic.
And Dave Meltzer is reporting that Samoa Joe is not turning heel. The idea...
Turning heel.
Turning babyface.
Sorry, not turning babyface. The idea is that Daniel Bryan is going to be such a heel that even the other heels are like, you are terrible.
So it's just pushing
Okay.
Daniel Bryan more.
Yeah.
That's what that's not a bad idea, but
not
that's
bad.
what they did with Dolph Ziggler, where everyone had to have their 2 cents on Dolph super kicking Shawn Michaels.
And quickly possible, Goldberg showed a picture of like a really bloody knee, so maybe he couldn't do his kick spot. He did look like he was hobbling a bit, so I don't know. Anyway,
Possibly.
BL Sab, we did that one earlier, but we will start with Will Hayes on this one. Says Seth's run in made him look stupid, not valiant. WWE can't book a babyface.
Yeah, we totally
it's
agree.
a shame. Yeah.
Oliver01 says, my first ever super chat. Much love from Sweden. Well,
Much love
to you
over in
back.
the Sweden town.
Much love.
Yeah, that's what they call it over there. Van Thomas says, heading to New York for a work conference. Won't be able to watch you guys or WWE. Well, I know which one of those is more tragic.
I know.
Well, you
It's a
can
shame.
stream us.
Yeah.
Just put it on underneath the desk.
Yeah,
perfect.
like other people do.
It's flawless.
Limps says, the 24/7 title changed hands for 31 times already. Also, the OC this week were like the Ascension knockoffs. Cheers, Swaff Nation. Hope y'all good.
Because of the face
That's
paint.
harsh.
That is harsh.
The face paint looked cool, okay? And honestly, the Ascension's face paint looked cool, just not with the rest of their getup. And if they hadn't been booked into Oblivion, you'd have said it would be cooler.
Will Adams, who is Luke Owen's #1 fan, says Samoa Joe to the babyface locker room confirmed. I suppose the backstage
Hopefully.
were all standing in a row.
All standing in the babyface locker room. Yeah.
Joe Puckett says the Fiend is the new legend killer, deleter of laws. Laws.
Laws?
Laws. Lores.
Oh, laws. Right. That's weird.
Yeah,
Sure.
he is going after the legends. Kurt, Mick,
And Finn Balor. You know, that legend.
Isn't there another
The Miz.
one? Oh, yeah.
The Miz is a legend.
go?
No, it was a legend.
Oh, it
that's
only
it
did
so far.
Balor,
That's the
Foley,
only
and
You
Angle.
three,
can pretty
isn't
much
it?
guarantee that if there's a legend on the show, they're going to be attacked now.
Yeah.
Tim Arndt says, I'm starting to resent R-Truth. He's becoming the Roman Reigns of the 24/7 division. Still a better champ than Brock, though. This is his 11th reign now.
It is his 11th
Yeah.
reign now. Yeah, I don't mind Truth. He's still funny, but it's a bit tiresome seeing the same thing. And it's just him getting a roll up and a win, and then he runs away with Carmella on his back.
Yeah, I think
about
that because Vince McMahon apparently finds R-Truth absolutely hilarious backstage. But rightfully so, because he's a very funny man. He's got great comedic timing and delivery. But maybe Vince is being blinded by that.
A little bit of tunnel vision. Our tunnel vision. Nope.
Nicely done. Tim Arndt again says, I feel like WWE is leaning into the Seth Rollins hate. That's the only way I can justify the promo he cut on Raw.
I don't know. I
say
just
so.
think they had a certain idea of what they wanted to do with that segment. I think they genuinely thought they were getting him over as a valiant babyface, but it came across as he was just a bit bit silly and disheartened.
Yeah, exactly.
Tim again says, I'm now optimistic for the women's tag titles. They're on a team that WWE is invested in, so hopefully they're treated better, which means they won't be.
Well, I don't know. A blonde woman has one.
It's Alexa Bliss. She always has a title or is vying for a title.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll be respected a little bit now.
Yep. Rex Joseph Calmerin says, Samoa Joe must have watched Hobbs and Shaw. Uso.
Uso? Cousin.
Yeah, because I think at one point he said Us in his promo when he was talking about Roman.
Well, that's the Samoan term for brother.
Brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a term of endearment.
Apparently, Tamina is Fijian, so we shouldn't talk about her in the same bracket as the Samoans.
Okay.
Oh, I thought she was
Well,
right.
you know.
Kevin says, I don't get Rollins' booking. The only thing I could say watching this angle was stupid, stupid, stupid. His promo made me want to see the match even less.
Yeah, I think that's the crucial thing. All angles should make you want to see the match more.
Yeah.
And this took away from the excitement I had after last week. Because I actually was into the match last week. That was the first time I've been into the Lesnar-Rollins feud since WrestleMania.
The DA says, who let Jey Uso drive again?
Yeah. Got
Wasn't
that
it
joke in
Jimmy?
my...
Wasn't it? I was going to say it was definitely Jimmy.
Definitely Jimmy. But that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Continue.
Ryan F says, although Samoa Joe is a good heel, it would be interesting to see him as a babyface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, because he's also a great babyface.
Droz Walker says, Raw last night was entertaining and had a few different wrinkles for a go-home show before SummerSlam.
What was that, sorry?
It was a good show and it had a few different wrinkles to go home for the go-home show.
Yeah, like a few little nice reveals.
I would have
I
preferred more because it's the go-home show of SummerSlam, you know, the second biggest show of the year, but it was pretty good.
Again, Goldberg returned.
Okay, Goldberg returned, which...
Roman Reigns got
admittedly,
hit by a car.
Sort of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Which
Pete would only have
but
liked
he's
it
not
if
in a
he'd
match.
actually been really badly hurt.
But he's not in a match, though, as of right now,
The Fiend took out a legend.
which we saw last week as well.
I think it
Wow.
was a newsworthy show.
It was fine. It was better than fine. It was good.
Droz Walker says, Raw last night was... Christopher Beasley says, here is the best wrestle dog name, Rough Rough Ref.
Rough Ref.
Rough
that was
Ref.
the Miz movie that he was trying to star in.
That's good.
That is the best name.
Who dis says, hey, what's up, lads? Sending love from Australia. Keep up the amazing content.
Oh, thanks very
Well,
much.
thank you.
Tim Arndt again says, Roman must have really annoyed someone on the set of Hobbs and Shaw.
Yep.
A lot of car jokes.
Car
That's
jokes.
good. I can't
Love
believe
'em.
I didn't think of this one.
I know.
Caution G-Style says, Joe, Roman, and the Usos as the wild Samoans and maybe a returning Nia Jax. And he says, and Tamina, but now we know that's not correct.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see a big Samoan faction.
No, not really.
They're better on their own. Matthew Blevins says, can you say super chats like Tony Chimmel?
Super chats.
Super chats. And then he says Lamau. LMAO. Mr. Doback says, oh, look, Australia beaten England. Get effed, Poms. That is a cricket joke.
Because it's the Ashes.
Sports.
And we did
Yes.
really badly. Yes, it was very bad. Matthew Burlidge. No, we did that one. Sorry, earlier. I'm still getting used to the new format. Kevin says, I pitched the idea of D. Bryan versus Roman Reigns here on the Super Chat. So if it happens, WWE officially watches this show. Just in case, stop talking about Bailey Sting or it'll happen.
Not only do they officially watch the show, they owe you personally money because you came up with that idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should get in contact with them.
Craig Brown says, nice to see Ollie Davis at the Edinburgh Fringe giving an intro into Colt Cabana's show since WrestleTalk sponsor it. # shameless plug.
Yeah.
Hell
yeah, we
yeah.
are. Yeah. So, yeah, if you're in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is, of course, in the UK, go and check out Colt Cabana's and John Hastings' comedy show. It's really good.
Yeah.
And you get to see a little video intro from me at the start.
Mr. Too Fresh For You says, Daniel Bryan going to new heights. Committing murder?
It's pretty lofty heights.
Well,
Yeah.
he just wanted to smash the car.
Yeah, I don't think he was aiming for
He
Roman.
drove into the back door, I think.
It's all a psychological plays. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Although he could definitely have quite seriously injured Roman in the process.
It is
But-
like when you step back outside of the drama of it all, it is pretty goofy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Thank you, message retracted. Ryan B. Bad says that segment between Brock and Seth plus the promo afterwards made me even less interested in the title fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the general consensus.
And speaking of title fight, we will be putting up the SummerSlam predictions for Wrestle League tomorrow after SmackDown is done. Rex Joseph Cameron says Vin Diesel attacked Roman. I think we're going to get quite a few of these.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Naters WP says, have the women's tag belts always belonged to Raw? When Alexa and Nikki won, the graphic said, new Raw women's tag team champions. Oh, God.
I didn't
Did
see
they
that.
really?
I really hope they're not interested.
Let's not do SmackDown tag team women's tag team
jeez.
champions as well. Let's
Yeah.
not do that.
There's only one team, which is the Kabuki Warriors, pretty much, isn't it?
I mean, what are brands these days?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good
Go
point.
anyway.
Ram Kumar says, do you think it was Daniel Bryan?
Maybe.
Yes.
I mean, it's a shame they have blacked out windows.
Yeah,
Well-
I know. Although I feel like that would have
Did you
kind of given
Did
away
you
the
see
entire
people
story.
spotted Rowan in one of the camera angles walking
Yes.
away in a hoodie?
Yeah, but Buddy Murphy, maybe it's a big faction
Ooh. Ginger
yeah, maybe not.
beards.
or a short faction.
Jay Jones says, chop, chop, chopper Pete, baby.
It's me.
Ronce Rajan says, tried to tell you about Bray and that mandible claw.
Yeah. And full confession, I think me and Luke both said, no, it's just a 1 week thing for Foley. But I know Luke doesn't like the mandible claw. I think quite suits the Fiend's character.
Yeah,
I always
I'd say
used
so.
to. That was my chosen submission, apart from the sharpshooter, in all the video games I used to make as a kid.
Used to make video games.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but that's just me. Crappy Post says, that Seth promo not giving up sounded like a man who can't get over being dumped and still tries to get the girl who left him. It was cringe-inducing, one word.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Raya, he asked me to do that, says, Saturday iTunes review had me crying with laughter.
I'm glad.
Good.
Flag
Yes.
emoji, flag emoji, flag emoji.
Yes.
Chris Wagstaff says, saw Pac versus Fleisch the other day, and it was so
Oh,
great.
wow.
At the end, I held my AEW jumper up, and he laughed at me and put his thumb down. Will he be at all out?
How bad is that injury? Is he going to
Yeah,
have to
It
sit out
looks-
for a
out.
bit?
It looks like a Black Knight flesh wound. But it doesn't. Yeah, there's no reports as to say it's bad. It just looked like he was probably quite sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll definitely see him in AEW eventually.
Eventually.
All Out might be too soon. But he has lost the Dragon Gate, opened the Dream Gate Championship. Wow,
Yeah.
Such a
stupid
long,
name.
convoluted title. Maybe when they go to TV in October.
Marcus Roman says Stephanie McMahon tweeted Becky is the first female to be on a WWE game cover. Did she forget China is on the cover of SmackDown for PlayStation 1?
She is.
Who's China?
Yeah.
Airbrushed
Though,
out
have you
a lot
heard?
of
She
stuff.
is going to be in 2K20.
Oh,
China.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Tomo says since
Tomo.
SummerSlam is coming up, somebody put a question mark after that. What is your favourite SummerSlam show you've ever seen? Everyone in the chat can answer as well. Even Datsun can answer. Well, I'll answer first. 2011.
2000.
I don't know. 2013.
What happened on 2013?
Brian won the WWE Championship over Cena.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
And also, I think that might have been Brock versus Triple H. No, that
Look
might have been
constipated.
2012. I don't know. I'm
that
under
Brock-
pressure and I
is that
don't like
Brock
it.
Punk?
I'm just saying 2013. Might have been Brock Punk.
Anyway, there's your answer. Alex Jordan says, lost all my faves over the years. HBK, CM Punk, and even Jimmy Wang Yang. All
Ugh.
I have is Orton and Ziggler. Do you think his career can be saved?
Who's
Orton,
Ziggler's?
I think he's doing all right.
Orton's doing fine.
Yeah.
Ziggler? I mean, to be fair, we say this a lot when we're just like, there's no way they can rebuild this character. And then they do it. They did it with Gallows and Anderson, and they did it with Cedric Alexander, sort of. And they did it with someone else that I can't remember right now.
Yeah. Well, Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt.
But none of them have, like, Dolph Ziggler has been with that company ineffectively booked double the amount of time.
It's true.
As the closest other longest tenured person.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I can't see a way out for him.
I think he'd need a gimmick change at the very least.
He's had so many gimmick changes.
An actual gimmick change, not variations of the show stealer.
CJ Poirier suggests the Samoan experience as the Joe and Roman
Classic.
team, of
Yep.
course. Christopher Cade says, I'm curious, do you guys watch on 1.5 speed?
It depends on the match.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of the promo segments you can zip through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wilson Simon says, Mike and Maria go to marriage counseling and Dr. Shelby wins the 24/7 title.
That would be a good cameo.
That would be amazing, actually, yeah.
That's how you bring Kane back in.
I'd be so into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin says, I recognize Jessica Carr as the Doctor, but I never thought she was going to officiate. I just assumed WWE didn't have enough actors to play in the skit.
That whole set was like, that was such a lazy set.
It was, yeah. But it was fine.
Yeah,
It was a fun segment.
I found it funnier
Yeah.
in how obviously fake the walls were.
Yeah.
Sparks says, imagine if Drake Maverick and Truth feud back and forth until Mania for the 24/7 title. 10 out of 10 would be a WrestleMania main event.
I think the joke might get old. A little bit.
I mean, it's already starting to get old with Truth, so...
Will Hayes, or they could just do another feud and bring it back and be like, oh, remember that feud for between... Yeah, anyway.
Long-term storytelling.
Will Hayes says, the segue should have been speaking of... The segue should have been, speaking of vaginas, here's Becky Lynch.
Oh, because of the gynecologist.
Because of the gynecologist.
That's fair. That's a good joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, Van Thomas says, Rollins, huge bank account apparently, can't sell.
Yeah, well, you know,
It's a funny joke.
that is a good joke. When he does his matches, he'll be selling, oh, my knee, my knee, my knee. Here's the next 3 minutes of moves that I need my knee for, and I'm fine.
Phoenix
dive,
Splash.
dive, yeah.
Dive, Phoenix Splash.
It's very selective.
Yeah. Adam Orish says, you have the Graveyard Dogs, now meet the team of Too Joe, Too Serious.
It's good. Like it.
Tyler Bailey says, 4-star show, Seth and Brock segment was awful.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, universally condemned then.
Yeah.
No one liked that segment.
Graham Scrivener says, hi guys, just watching Raw, another fun day of wrestling, just like the G1 climax.
Yeah, wrestling is good right now.
Yeah.
I know we were nitpicky on certain bits, but overall this is
Sure.
like just so much better than the trash we were getting after WrestleMania.
For sure.
Duffs 101 says, whose potential was wasted the most? Viking Raiders, AOP, Sanity, or The Ascension?
I forgot about AOP.
The Ascension. I'd say AOP it's too early to say because they can still come back and be dominant.
Sanity don't exist anymore.
Viking Raiders, still, they've not been destroyed yet. They're still squashing local talent. So once they're actually used properly, then we'll see. I can't remember who the other one was, but
Sanity.
Sanity. Okay, yeah, no, they were pretty bad.
They don't exist anymore.
They
so
did. They
possibly them.
beat the New Day one time. Ascension were just squashed from the off.
Yeah.
So
Seth M says, do you think if the crowd chants "Shut up, Cole" long enough, they'll get rid of him?
no.
No, I think they'll lean into it and possibly turn him heel, which is the last thing we want. Like, he's bad at the moment. He can be so much worse.
He'll leave when he goes into the Hall of Fame.
Maybe.
I reckon. Flame Inc. Live says, hashtag WWE fire Michael Cole. Let's get this trending, everyone.
I don't want anyone to lose their jobs.
No.
I just want him to take a backstage position.
Exactly. Yeah. Just get him off the screen.
But then, like, whoever fills in for him, like, replaces him, will just be produced the same way. Michael Cole can be a good commentator.
He can
like,
be,
You know, through the noughties, when he was with Taz and stuff, although sometimes he's weirdly perving on the female talent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the way it's produced.
Rons Rajan says, Vince might think they're referring to Adam Cole. I'm not sure he knows who Adam Cole is.
Right.
Yeah, probably not.
Echo Vecco says, that fatal four-way exposed Raw Women's has no talent besides Sane and Asuka. You've been writing these, Pete. They want Bliss to have a belt so bad, her only offense was Twisted Bliss.
I think that's harsh.
That's harsh.
I think it was a really. I enjoyed that match a lot. And
Very much so.
Twisted Bliss isn't a good
Well,
move.
we've seen botched women's matches before, and this had nothing wrong with it.
This
It
was
actually
much
very
better
exciting.
than the WrestleMania one.
Yeah.
Matthew Shield says, "Who would you want? Would you want to see an Asuka/Ember feud on SmackDown Live?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great. I mean, I
If
don't know
they're,
if Sasha's
you know,
coming back anytime soon.
Treated properly, yeah.
Gaurav Vaidya says, Joe plus Roman equals the new Wild Samoans. Well, apparently not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a fun speculation thing while it
Yeah.
lasted.
Yeah.
We got a good 15 minutes out of it.
John Marth says, keep the super chats. Bring back It's a Raw of You. Looking jacked, man. And man, I do love it. We got ourselves a flying
flying
Uso.
Uso.
Got ourselves a flying so I
Yeah.
missed those as well. They were great.
I don't know how we'd do those with the live stream because those were edited bits that would
Is it-
pop in.
Is
I
it
mean,
Man I
you
Do
can-
Love It or Michael I Love It? I thought it was
can't-
Michael.
I love it, Muggle.
Oh, Michael, I love it. Razman's Reality says, I think last night actually makes perfect sense. Charlotte and Becky are becoming friends on camera again. They split a year ago and Sunday, and Charlotte almost came back to help her. She lingered on the ramp.
No, I don't think they're becoming friends. I like how they always eternally feud.
Kevin says, can't wait to see Pyroless Goldberg entrance.
He got pyro.
Yeah, no, they'll splash out for Pyro
Oh,
with
yeah.
Not
Goldberg,
last night,
but
they
they
didn't. That was-
Yeah, but he
just
didn't get
walked.
any.
he didn't get any entrance.
No.
But
Flame Inc. Live says Joe Hendry finally debuted on WrestleTalk. Is he the Sanity / Emelina of WrestleTalk? Only took him a year or two to show up after he was announced.
well,
Coming soon.
yeah,
Hey, soon is
happens.
soon.
Coming soon. Hey, a Lannister always pays his debts.
Yeah.
This guy.
Marcus Roman says Goldberg better be in shape this time. What do? It wasn't
He
really
was in
bad.
shape
He got
last
knocked-
time,
He just
yeah.
got knocked out.
it's because it was in Saudi Arabia and it was like 40
Oh my
million
God, the
degrees.
heat, yeah.
So
he
it's
is 52.
yeah, so it's hard to do.
Yeah.
He looked in great physical shape.
Yeah,
Yeah. Tomo says, I'm planning on coming to England around this time next year.
Tomo.
Hopefully I can meet you guys when that time comes.
Oh, yeah,
Tomo!
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, come to
That'd be great.
London.
Tanner Sturicka says, I'm hyped for SummerSlam minus the Dolph BS. Baboon sick. I still hope Brock wins. I love his run. Bray is still the best thing in wrestling. Did you all let Bray in? He deserves literally everything. Much love.
Yeah.
Does deserve a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
he is the most exciting thing in WWE at the moment. I'm looking forward to
Sure.
an actual storyline for him.
As much as I like to nitpick, I am actually quite excited for SummerSlam. There's quite a few matches where I'm like, you know what, that could be really good.
Thomas the Choo Choo simply says, Big Willie. Jughead
Thanks.
Jones says, what do you think about a possible Cesaro versus Seth feud? Great work, guys. Much love from Ohio.
Yeah, I'd be into. I mean, if it's for the Universal title, yeah, I want to see Cesaro do something like that. Yeah,
I think that's way above where Cesaro is.
at the minute, yeah.
Yeah. But he's never been, even in Ring of Honor or other places. Like, he's a great top mid-carder for the Intercontinental title or United States title.
I think he would be very good as like top mid-carder doing mid-card title stuff, who occasionally can flit into the main event kind of picture and flit back out. So I don't think I want to see him win the title, but to have like a 1 month feud with Seth, I'd be well into it.
At Royal Rumble.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
why not?
where you can have whatever
have
opponent
anything.
you want.
Yeah.
Dan from Pensacola, Florida says, just saying hello, guys. Can't wait to hang out with you all at SummerSlam. Who will be doing the live review? Will it be a trio? Oh boy, I can't wait.
It's going to be me and Luke. Laurie's off on holiday. So, yeah, looking forward to the live stream, actually. We're doing NXT TakeOver as well on Saturday night.
Yep. Who's doing that one?
Me and Luke as well.
Oh, nice.
All weekend.
Sidesh Mirjankar says, rather than have the mandible claw as a finish, I'd have the Fiend deliver the Legend's own finisher on them, like mandible claw on Foley, ankle lock on Angle, etc.
It might get a bit bad when he's facing Finn Balor at SummerSlam, though. Can't really see him doing a coup de grace.
Oh, that
To
would hurt
Balor.
so much.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think that's not his character.
No.
His character isn't stealing other people's moves. It's
Do
creepy
you think
stuff.
he'll wear the mask when he wrestles?
I
Don't know.
actually.
Miguel 8A says, when are they going to have Black Mass versus Kinshasa?
Oh, hopefully
Ooh,
eventually.
that'd be a good one.
That is
Yeah.
tasty.
Mm.
Yeah.
IC title feud, yes, please.
Probably can do it now, to be honest. Mike Martin II says, they told us the team name last week. It's the Samoan Summit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They totally
and
could
they
do that.
rightfully scrapped that segment for Cedric Alexander jumping off the Titantron.
Yeah.
Stephen Superclick McAllister comes in with our last one. Say, how come Brock didn't have personalized nameplates on the Universal title?
Probably doesn't care. I didn't notice that.
No, not at all.
But has he had them before?
I feel maybe the first time he won it, or second time he won it.
Because
Maybe.
usually there's not one belt; they'll have a bunch of belts.
Yeah.
So maybe he just picked up the wrong one,
I mean-
or didn't turn up with it, and they were like, "Oh, we've got this one."
Yeah, we've got a replica. There you go. And there was one in the 2K20 trailer. That's an Easter egg, which you should watch. Screenstalker video from later today, where I go through all the Easter eggs from the WWE 2K20 trailer that dropped yesterday.
Including housemate Simon's cameo.
Including housemate Simon. He's in the trailer if you didn't know.
Thank you all ever so much for all your super chats, and thank you for our $25 a month or more pledge hammers on Patreon. If you go over to our Patreon page now, you can join in with the Wrestle League, which culminates this Sunday on SummerSlam. Nearly said Survivor Series. That's what it's all about, folks. It's the Wrestle League trophy emoji trophy.
There we go.
Had to get that right in my
Got
head.
that one, yeah.
So at the moment, our own Randy Andy Datson is in the overall leaderboard. But yeah, go over there, $5 a month or more, and you can start season 3 at SummerSlam on Sunday as well, which will go through till Survivor Series. But thank you, Paulie Dangerously Jarman.
Woo! Yes. The Craftsman.
Ollie better read this one.
I'll do this one.
$100 man. CD Hover.
Woo!
Woo!
Yeah.
El siguiente top model de Gran Bretaña, Phil Stopford.
Whoa! Yes.
Well read.
The fan John Cena, Bloom Teddy Bear.
Bloom Teddy
Yeah!
Bear.
That's his name. The Castle Run DX Solo.
Oh,
Whey!
yeah.
The Mayor of Painesville, Dan.
Dan. The Rocket, Dan Van Sky.
Woo!
Yes.
Ben. Hey now, you're a rock star. Haley.
Well, hey.
Hey now.
He's no jackass, Dano.
Oh, baby.
Dano.
The Beast, Brock Taylor. Yeah. Paul Heyman for you.
WrestleTalk's personal ring announcer, Rodrigo Benitez.
Yeah.
Whey! And finally, it's astounding Abdullah Alanese.
Hey.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for donating. Please click the videos that have just appeared on the desk right now to catch up with your latest awesome Wrestle Talk videos. This button right here, which will take you to Patreon, where you can take part in Wrestle League Season 3 starting at SummerSlam. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Chopper Pete Quinnell. Over there's been Randy Andy Datson. And that was Rambling. I've been driving in my car,